Hey guys, it's Jade back with another video, and today we're continuing our 50 state cryptid series, and this week is Arizona. And Arizona's most famous cryptid is the Mogollon monster. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so the Mogollon monster is a Bigfoot like cryptid from the folklore of Arizona. It's supposedly native to the wooded areas of the eastern, central, and southeastern part of Arizona. It's along the Mogollon Rim, um, which that's where the most sightings have been reported. So, obviously, the Mogollon Rim, that's where the monster gets its name. Um, This rim is a 2,000-foot escarpment that stretches 200 miles eastward all the way across to central Arizona to New Mexico. And it also forms the southern boundary of the Colorado Plateau. Um, Cryptozoologists have named this monster the Arizona Bigfoot because it's allegedly similar to Bigfoot. So, a little bit of a description other than it looks like Bigfoot. The Arizona folklore describes the monster as an ape-like or Bigfoot-like creature that walks upright on 2 feet, and he stands more than 7 feet tall. So he could play on the basketball teams if he really wanted to. His face, palms, and parts of his chest and the soles of his feet are hairless, but the rest of his body is covered in thick, dark hair. Reddish. It can be between red and brown. Depends on the sighting. Cryptozoologist Don Davis has claimed to have sighted the monster during an outdoor trip to Payson, Arizona. And he described it as tall, hairy, and it had a box-like head, and its eyes were set deep into his face. It had an impressive upper body, with broad shoulders and powerful arms. An eyewitness account by somebody named I.W. Stevens, which was published by Arizona Republic in 1903, described the monster as having long white hair, which could be more representative of a Yeti rather than Bigfoot, um, which was on its head and it dangled like a beard that reached all the way down to its knees. It had long fingers which ended in 2-inch claws. That's crazy. And it had gray hair with patches of bald, dirty-looking skin. Eyewitnesses have said that the creature exudes an unpleasant or fishy odor. It walks with kind of like a slumped over kind of look, and it takes long, plodding strides, according to the resident of White River, who claimed 2 different sightings in 1982 and 2004. The footprints that he said he saw were 22 inches long, which is about twice the length of an average human foot. And many alleged encounters with the Mogollon monster occurred at night. There hasn't been many sightings during the day. This is given it the quality of being nocturnal. Like humans, it lives on a mixed vegetarian and carnivorous diet. However, it is very predatory. It's described as a humanoid that carries a club. That's terrifying. It hunts small creatures such as rodents, birds, and large animals, and it lures its prey in by mimicking their call. An eyewitness claimed that he saw the monster feasting on a mountain lion once. And according to some accounts, it rips off the head of its prey before eating the flesh. The Mogollon monster is also a scavenger, and it will enter human campsites and rummage through their things, trying to find scraps of food. The monsters also reportedly emits a low whistling sound, or sometimes a chilling scream that sounds like a human female. Seems to be a common theme among cryptids. So, one witness described the scream as an unearthly screech. It builds a nest using available plant materials such as twigs, leaves, and branches, and it is very territorial, which is why it attacks humans, giving it the classic cryptid vibe. It also will hide from view and hurl sticks and stones at the enemy. Now, onto some origin stories, possible explanations for where the Mogollon monster could have came from. Arizona folklore claims that the Mogollon monster was a vengeful Native American chief who used magical powers to transform himself into a monster to terrorize the people who were trying to take his land. Some stories claim that the monster was originally a European settler who traveled to America and tortured and murdered a native woman. The native gods cursed the man and he became a monster. I.W. Stevens, who was the guy we mentioned earlier, who reported the very first sighting of the Mogollon monster, he reported that locals said the creature was one of 3 men, presumably European settlers, who fell into the hands of native tribesmen. They bound the men to logs and cast them into the river. One of the men escaped drowning, but experiences kind of like insanity, like he goes crazy. He became the Wild Man of the Rocks, which is the Mogollon monster. So now for some sightings and reports of this monster. They come from parts of Arizona that coincide with the ponderosa pine forest around the Mogollon rim. Sightings have come from northern Arizona communities around Williams, south of the Grand Canyon, and residents of Prescott in central Arizona have also reported some sightings. Other Mogollon hotspots include communities in and around the central town of Alpine, and Clifton to the southeast part of Arizona. The first reported sighting of the creature on record occurred in the early 20th century. However, folklore suggests that locals shared stories of a Sasquatch-like creature living along the Mogollon Rim before the very first documented sightings. Some folkloric accounts claim that the sightings have occurred since the European settlers came to the region. And Arizonans share a story about a European settler, Sam Spade, who encountered the Mogollon monster near Camp Geronimo. That's how you say it, I think. North of Payson, and he lost his son Bill and his wife to this creature. Now the account from I.W. Stevens that's been mentioned a couple times. The Arizona Republic reported in 1903 that a resident, I.W. Stevens, said he encountered a strange humanoid armed with a club near the Grand Canyon, and the beast started chasing but stopped midway and retreated. And then it approached the carcass of a cougar that Stevens had shot, and it started tearing the flesh off of the cougar. Stevens took this advantage to return to the safety of his boat to get away from this crazy-looking creature. And the hunter watched the creature feasting on the cougar flesh and blood, and he hollered at it. Not sure why you would do that, but whatever. And he startled it, and it retreated from the carcass and let out a frightening screech and shook its club at him. It must not like the water, because it didn't chase him into the water. And now for the White Mountain, I'm gonna say this word, Apache Nation sightings. Goodness, okay. So according to a 2006 report, members of the White Mountain Apache Nation of Fort Apache Indian Reservation, Navajo County, Arizona. That was a lot of words. They claimed that they sighted this monster within the boundaries of their tribal land and communities for years before sightings were even being documented. Several members of the communities claim to have seen strange footprints in the mud, mysterious tufts of hair on feces in the ground, and heard chilling screeches of the creature at night. Many also claim to have seen the alleged creature in person. A girl named Colette Altaha, a spokesperson of her community, said they kept their experience a secret because they did not want to talk about them with outsiders who might think that they were making all the stories up. However, in 2006, they noticed an increase in the frequency of sightings and felt that they could no longer keep this a secret from everybody around them. Majority Grimes of White River, one of the communities in this Indian reservation, claimed to have seen the monster on 2 separate occasions. The first alleged sighting occurred in 1982, and the second occurred in 2004, while returning to the White River. Now, cryptozoologist Don Davis, who was also mentioned earlier, he reported his sighting of the Mogollon monster in the 1940s when he was only 13 years old. According to Davis, this sighting occurred near Payson, Arizona, and he was camping with other Boy Scouts at a site close to the Tonto Creek on the north side of the Tonto National Forest in the Mogollon Rim, about 18 miles out of Payson. One day, he woke up late at night and heard disturbances nearby, and he thought it was one of the boys fooling around, so he yelled at him to quit disturbing other people's rest. But from his sleeping bag, he noticed a figure in the dark. It stopped moving when Davis yelled and looked toward him, and then it walked over to the boy in the sleeping bag and stood over him. Davis realized it was not human, and he was aware of a sickening odor coming from the creature. He pulled the cover over his head to escape the dreadful sight and smells, and the creature lounged around for some time and then retreated to the forest. So this monster doesn't seem to be as aggressive as some of the other ones we've covered, which is interesting. It seems to only be territorial, but not, like, mean. So now, there was a sighting in Canyon Point Trail in 2014. A young woman reported encountering the monster on the Canyon Point Trail near Payson. She said she saw a strange-looking humanoid creature crouching to drink from a pool. At first she thought it was an animal, but while reaching into her bag for her camera, the creature stopped drinking and looked directly at her. The creature frightened her, but she tried to shoo it off by waving her arm. When it rose to its full height on its hind legs, she realized it was not an ordinary animal, but she described it as a troll-looking creature. Before she could react to the shocking sight, it broke into a run toward the canyon and disappeared. She recalled it was hairy but had a bald face and humanoid lips, a big nose, and reddish eyes. So, some explanations for these sightings. Although many Arizonans have claimed to have seen the creature, zoologists and wildlife experts dismiss the claim, saying that the Mogollon monsters are simply urban legends. Skeptics have proposed multiple theories to explain the sightings. Species that people might have mistaken the cryptid for include grizzly bears and black bears. Grizzly bears are now rare in Arizona, however, which means the animal people most likely mistook the monster for was a black bear. And with that, we are going to end the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you're from Arizona and you've heard of this monster or you've seen it yourself, let me know in the comments. I want to hear your stories. And next week, we will be looking at Arkansas, and their most famous cryptid is the Fouke monster. I'm probably saying that wrong. It's spelled F-O-U-K-E. Fouke, I don't know. I apologize for saying all the words wrong in this series, but I speak English, and you can tell. I can't say any words in other languages. I can speak a little German, but that's about it. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you are liking the series. Let me know in the comments. Leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe. It means a lot. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.